Okay, good morning, everyone. Today we are actually completing Meseches Shvius, tractate Shvius of Mishnayos. Very interesting tractate, very interesting Masechta, and it's a very nice accomplishment. Okay, so Perek Yud Mishnah Tes Hamachzer Choy B'Shvius, one who pays back a debt even after Shemitah cancels the debt. The sages are pleased with him. As we learned previously in the previous Mishnah, if you want to pay back the debt, the lender has to first say, I relinquish. Once he says, I relinquish, he can accept. Even when he accepts it and the borrower is paying, the borrower should not say, I'm paying for my debt, cannot say, I'm paying this for my debt. And then I'm giving you a gift. We all know why he's doing it, but at the end of the day, he's saying it's a gift. He's not obligated to do that, but if he does it, the Chacham are very pleased with what he did. And that's because at the end of the day, when Shemitah knocks off debts, it puts the lenders in a hard situation, and at the end of the day, it could discourage them from lending money in the future. And therefore, the Chacham are very pleased with this by a person who does give back the money, even though, according to the law, there's no obligation to pay because of Shemitah. Next case, Halayvim and Hager, a person who borrows money from a convert, Sheniskairu banav imay, that his children converted with him. Lo yachzer labanav, he does not need to repay the children. That means like this. If a person, Jewish man, lent money to someone and he died before he was paid back, the borrower has to pay his heirs, his children. If we're talking about a convert, so a convert halachically loses all ties to all his to all the relatives that were his relatives when he was not Jewish. Halachically, he has no ties to them. They are not his heirs. So the situation, the case of the Mishnah is here, where the convert, when he converted, he had children, but they converted with him. But that they weren't born Jewish. They converted with him. They are converts on their own, just like their father. And therefore, they are not his heirs. So if it comes out that a convert lent money to someone, and the convert died before he got paid back, the borrower doesn't really have anybody to retain. Those children that were converted with their father, they're not his heirs, as have to pay them back. If the convert after conversion has more children, and those are his children born after he was Jewish, they are connected to him. They are considered his heirs, his relatives, his heirs. And therefore, there'd be no question that the borrower would have to pay them back. But here the case is that the children converted with him. So lo yachzer laban, if he does not have to pay back the children. But if he does pay them back, the Chacham are pleased with his actions. And the actions are very well understood. Because if it comes out that the children won't be considered his heirs, and they wouldn't be able to collect the debt that the father was owed, that could actually turn them away from Judaism that they accepted. And therefore, there's no obligation to give it to them, but clearly the Chachamim were very pleased with a person who does that. Now, there's a very interesting distinction made here in the Bar Tanura. There's the Bar Tanura's opinion, and that is the following. Our Mishnah is talking about where the convert had children before he converted, and those children converted with him. They're converts on their own, so to speak. Now, what happens if we have a situation like this? That a child who was conceived before the conversion but born after it. Meaning, you have a situation where a Gentile man and woman were married. They conceived a child. Right now, they're not Jewish, the child's not Jewish, but then they convert. Both the mother and the father convert. So this child that's going to be born is going to be born a Jewish child because he's born from a Jewish mother. But halachically, he's not the child of the father because this child was conceived before the child was Jewish. And therefore, that child would not be his heir, just like these children. But there's a very big difference between the children who were born before the conversion and converted with the father, and this child who's born after his mother converted. And that is that according to the law of the Torah, When it comes to a Gentile who passes away, his children inherit him. That's the law. The Torah recognizes inheritance for Gentiles. This Gentile person has children, they're his children, they inherit him. So it comes out now that when they convert, they lost what they had before. As Gentiles, they had the right to inherit. Now that they're Jewish and they have no connection to their father halachically, they can't inherit. That is something that we are afraid that if you don't pay them back the debt, that's going to alienate them. Because the fact that they knew that beforehand, they had the right to collect this. And now because they became Jewish, they lost out. The Chachamim are very pleased if you pay them back. However, in the case of the child that wasn't born before, he was never born before his father converted. He was never, as a Gentile, an heir to his father. He never had the right to inherit him. And by the time he was born, he's not connected. He may be Jewish, but he's not connected to his father. So it comes out that this child, besides the fact that the child has no rights to inherit the father now, he never had a chance to inherit his father. He never had that chance. And therefore, in that case, you want to pay him back, you can pay him back. But this is not where the Chachamim said, we are pleased with what you're doing. Because he never had any rights to begin with, and therefore, it's not really that troubling to him. Or would it be, it's not considered that it would be so troubling to him if he doesn't inherit. Never had the rights to inherit anyway. Okay, that's the second case. And the last case of the Mishnah is all movable objects are acquired through Mashicha. Mashicha really means pulling in. It means bringing something into your domain. If you want to buy a cow, you can pull it in. You could draw it in. If we're talking about inanimate objects, what would be what falls into the what is similar to Mashicha, to bringing into your domain, is lifting it up, right? To go ahead and actually use money as a way of acquiring it. Of course, you got to pay for it. But you want to now give money as your form of acquisition of movable objects. You can't do that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. But it doesn't work to do. It doesn't work to do that. You have to do Mashicha. You have to do something that brings it into your domain. You have to do an act that brings it into your domain. All right. So what happened here is that we say that although all movable objects are acquired through Mashicha, this bringing it into your domain, physically bringing it into your domain. And so let's say you make up with someone that you're going to buy movable objects, but you never did Mashicha. You never did it. You may even give it some money as a down payment beforehand, but it doesn't, that's not an act of acquisition. So theoretically, you want to back out, you could back out. You don't have to stay into the deal. The kinyan, the acquisition was never made. If it wasn't made, you could back out. Nonetheless, whoever fulfills his words, he fulfills his promise, the sages are pleased with him. Basically, the sages are pleased with you when you keep your word, when you keep the deal. As a matter of fact, it's brought down, although the buyer does not gain legal title to the merchandise merely by paying for it, there is nevertheless a strong moral obligation for him to honor the agreement. A curse is pronounced on those who do not honor their commitments in this manner. So my understanding here is that, again, if they actually put down money and then you backed out, there's a curse on that. Nonetheless, even in a case where there was no money put down, there was only a word given to go ahead and do this, make this deal. At the end of the day, that also is very important to keep. And on that, too, the Mishnah says, whoever keeps his word, the spirit of the sages, the sages are very pleased with him. Slik Masech Shvius. With this, we have completed the tractate of Shvius. Mazel tov. Okay, let's now go to the Sefer HaMitzvot. Prohibition against demanding payment from a borrower when you know he doesn't have what to pay. As it says, you should not beat him as a collector. Again, talking about in a case where included in this when the Torah says don't be like a collector, what that means is, or included in that, is the idea of not demanding from someone who can't pay you. It is forbidden for the borrower to even pass in front of the, forbidden for the lender to even pass in front of the borrower to kind of remind him, when you know he can't pay, in order not to shame him. Now, the same way the lender it's forbidden for him to demand in these kind of circumstances. So too, the borrower is not allowed to hold back payment. Tell him, come back tomorrow. You can pay him now, but you just push him off. That's not included in this prohibition of the Torah, and the prohibition mentioned in the words of the scriptures, as it says from the book of Mishna, the book of Proverbs, do not tell your friend, go and come back, and tomorrow I'll give you when you already have to give him now. It's also forbidden for the borrower to spend the money needlessly to the point, and then he's stuck in a way that he can't pay back. Nikra Russia, he's called a wicked person for that. As it says, the evil person borrows and doesn't pay. This applies in all places at all times, both by men and by women. Have a great day.